Open University. Pakistan is a land of rich panorama. It has marvelous diversity in culture. Stunning Himalayas and gushing waters constitute the geographic splendor of the land. Islamabad is one such place of beauty, and the Allama Iqbal Open University is located at the heart of the city. The Allama Iqbal Open University was founded in 1974 to open fresh avenues in the lives of people through distance education. Only in a couple of decades, the globe became a replica of the system. Today, open universities operate in the world. Being a pioneer institution in Asia, the Allama Iqbal Open University hosted the Asian Association Open Universities Conference . And now we earnestly prepare to wish all of you a warm welcome again. Every possible measure is being taken to make the international event constructive and comfortable. The conference website has been developed to facilitate registration, queries, and contact. Wi-Fi system is available in the campus for continuous communications. Central Library and Digital Library services will also be available for consultation and reference. To make your stay more comfortable, arrangements are being made in the hotels of international chains. You will be served with a variety of foods, especially the Oriental foods, with a blend of spices that will add to your taste. Visits to sites of cultural heritage would make a part of exciting tourism. Domestic handicrafts and products will be your shopping content for family and friends. The Allama Iqbal Open University is making all-out efforts to groom technology-oriented human resource through information and communication technology. Electronic and cyber communication formats are applied in teaching methodology. High-tech electronic software is produced in the Institute of Education Technology. These radio and television programs support the academic content of the university courses. The Center for Instructional Design has recently been established to develop electronic courseware for various programs. The student-centered arrangements also include campus radio, online learning, and educational television. Print materials like books, study guides sent by mail, tutorial instructions, face-to-face sessions in clusters of sciences in laboratories, group training workshops, faculties, and academic program. 35 academic departments of 4 faculties offer 104 programs of studies ranging from secondary level programs to research-based MPhil and PhD programs. The Allama Iqbal Open University ranks among mega universities in the world. We firmly believe in sharing experiences to innovate new structures in distance education. Together, we can enrich the existing practices and explore viable possibilities in education of technology, engineering, agriculture, and medical sciences in open distance learning framework.
To meet the adequacy, accessibility, and quality of information systems, UT possesses sufficient network facilities, infrastructures, and optimal information technology services. UT has a data center that adheres to Tier 3 standards. The data center was constructed alongside the Disaster Recovery Center, DRC, situated in separate locations within the same region or island and off-site outside Java Island. Currently, UT has established 2 physically distinct DRC locations from the main data center. 1. Gedung Serbaguna, UT's first DRC location, is in a different building in the same area. This location contains a storage server and several servers for backup and emergency replacement service. 2. DRC Nusantara Data Center, NDC Batam, in collaboration with one of Moratalindo's internet services in Indonesia. UT uses Microsoft Azure and DigitalOcean in the realm of cloud data centers. Regarding servers, each unit at UT's head office and regional offices has approximately 200 virtual servers for data backup and unit application development. This hosting server is managed by the Directorate of Information Systems with more than 50 physical servers installed. UT's internet connection consists of international and domestic internet lines with sufficient bandwidth with a total capacity of 5 Gbps internationally and 10 Gbps nationally, using 5 Internet Service Providers or ISPs. For internal networks or local area networks or LANs that connect between buildings in UT head office, the fiber cable bandwidth used varies with the backbone of the LAN inter-building network of 10 Gbps and 1 Gbps for each network subnet. The regional offices of UT possess ample bandwidth capacity, offering speeds ranging from 100 to 200 Mbps. UT regional offices typically subscribe to a single internet service provider, ISP, in the area, such as IndiHome or AstiNet, with different capacities available. Additionally, all office computers are connected to the internal network or local area network. The Virtual Private Network or VPN connection established between the head office and all regional offices of UT offers speeds of up to 10 Mbps with a robust backbone capacity of up to 400 Mbps. The infrastructure is generally utilized for various purposes, including accessing application systems, databases, and communication tools like video conferencing and PABX, and providing internet connectivity. UT provides lecturers and students with various facilities to engage in online learning activities and access informational resources and enrichment materials. These facilities include 1. eCampus email service, which offers a generous 50 GB inbox capacity and 1 TB of integrated OneDrive storage through Office 365. In addition to facilitating communication between students and lecturers. 2. Complimentary access to Wi-Fi.ID hotspots, which is the result of cooperation between UT and Telkom. These hotspots are available at equipped locations and have been installed across all regional offices of UT. Along with the development of technology and information, Universitas Terbuka provides the best services for its students. UT presents one of the superior applications called MyUT. MyUT application is here to make it easier for students to get various information related to learning processes. MyUT application has implemented single sign-on technology, or SSO. This application is an authentication service system to assist students in signing into a site or application. With this new system, students only need to sign in with an Office 365 account to enter various applications at once. Students can see personal dashboards through MyUT, including student data and academic development. In this scenario, students will have access to their payment status and a record of their courses. Additionally, they will also be able to access the following features: announcement and academic calendar, relevant information that can easily be accessed from WhatsApp and students' email, easy payment because it has implemented cash and card payment processor or 2C2P technology. Another facility MyUT offers is that students can directly enter online tutorial pages, webinar tutorials, and practicum practices without signing into their respective applications. Likewise, with other services such as registration, teaching materials, examinations, student activities, and graduation, students only need to select the desired services and will automatically enter the desired application. It is also equipped with a chatbot feature to make it easier for students to support their learning process. MyUT also offers other benefits to UT students, including assistance to students in finding exam locations through the Examination Participant Card feature, which seamlessly integrates with exam location maps specific to each UT regional office. The website-based and mobile-based MyUT make it easier for students to get services anywhere and anytime.
Welcome to the Asian Association Open Universities Conference at Allama Iqbal Open University. Pakistan is a land of rich panorama. It has marvelous diversity in culture. Stunning Himalayas and gushing waters constitute the geographic splendor of the land. Islamabad is one such place of beauty, and the Allama Iqbal Open University is located at the heart of the city. The Allama Iqbal Open University was founded in 1974 to open fresh avenues in the lives of people through distance education. Only in a couple of decades, the globe became a replica of the system. Today, open universities operate in the world. Being a pioneer institution in Asia, the Allama Iqbal Open University hosted the Asian Association Open Universities Conference. And now we earnestly prepare to wish all of you a warm welcome again. Every possible measure is being taken to make the international event constructive and comfortable. The conference website has been developed to facilitate registration, queries, and contact. Wi-Fi system is available in the campus for continuous communications. Central Library and Digital Library services will also be available for consultation and reference. To make your stay more comfortable, arrangements are being made in the hotels of international chains. You will be served with a variety of foods, especially the Oriental foods, with a blend of spices that will add to your taste. Visits to sites of cultural heritage would make a part of exciting tourism. Domestic handicrafts and products will be your shopping contact for family and friends. The Allama Iqbal Open University is making all-out efforts to groom technology-oriented human resource through information and communication technology. Electronic and cyber communication formats are applied in teaching methodology. High-tech electronic software is produced in the Institute of Education Technology. These radio and television programs support the academic content of the university courses. The Center for Instructional Design has recently been established to develop electronic courseware for various programs. The student-centered arrangements also include campus radio, online learning, and educational television. Print materials like books, study guides sent by mail, tutorial instructions, face-to-face sessions in clusters of sciences and laboratories, group training workshops, faculties, and academic program. 35 academic departments of 4 faculties offer 104 programs of studies ranging from secondary level programs to research-based MPhil and PhD programs. The Allama Iqbal Open University ranks among mega universities in the world. We firmly believe in sharing experiences to innovate new structures in distance education. Together, we can enrich the existing practices and explore viable possibilities in education of technology, engineering, agriculture, and medical sciences in open distance learning framework.
To meet the adequacy, accessibility, and quality of information systems, UT possesses sufficient network facilities, infrastructures, and optimal information technology services. UT has a data center that adheres to Tier 3 standards. The data center was constructed alongside the Disaster Recovery Center, DRC, situated in separate locations within the same region or island and off-site outside Java Island. Currently, UT has established 2 physically distinct DRC locations from the main data center. 1. Gedung Serbaguna, UT's first DRC location, is in a different building in the same area. This location contains a storage server and several servers for backup and emergency replacement servers. 2. DRC Nusantara Data Center, NDC Batam, in collaboration with one of Moratalindo's internet services in Indonesia. UT uses Microsoft Azure and DigitalOcean in the realm of cloud data centers. Regarding servers, each unit at UT's head office and regional offices has approximately 200 virtual servers for data backup and unit application development. This hosting server is managed by the Directorate of Information Systems with more than 50 physical servers installed. UT's internet connection consists of international and domestic internet lines with sufficient bandwidth with a total capacity of 5 Gbps internationally and 10 Gbps nationally, using 5 Internet Service Providers or ISPs. For internal networks or local area networks or LANs, that connect between buildings in UT head office. The fiber cable bandwidth used varies with the backbone of the LAN interbuilding network of 10 Gbps and 1 Gbps for each network subnet. The regional offices of UT possess ample bandwidth capacity, offering speeds ranging from 100 to 200 Mbps. UT regional offices typically subscribe to a single internet service provider, ISP, in the area, such as IndiHome or AstiNet, with different capacities available. Additionally, all of
Good morning, good afternoon, Professor Aoki.
Yes, good morning. Do you hear me?
Would you like to
Okay.
share? Yes, I can hear you.
Okay.
Would you mind to share screen first to test?
Yes, I just like to test to see if it works okay. Sometimes because of the bandwidth, it may not work as I intend. So I like to share. Let me do the presentation and slide. Do you see the slideshow okay?
Yes, it's we can see it, but could you try to slideshow it to make it full
Yeah, that's what
screen?
I'm doing. Okay, so it's not showing the slideshow.
Yeah.
Okay, let me then change the setting a little bit so that it will show the slideshow instead of the PowerPoint interface. Just a moment. I think if I make the slideshow monitor, it's instead of primary monitor, I think it should be primary monitor. Let's see. Automatic. Okay, I will just do automatic. And see. I will start slideshow first and then share. And that may work better. Just a moment. How about this? Oh, it looks smaller.
It's now already slideshow, but the screen
It's
is
smaller, right? Okay, let me change the setting again.
Or if you prefer us to share the screen, we can share it for you.
Then, this kind of it's a large file. So I'm afraid, let me see, just instead of primary monitor. How about this way? Do you see the full screen?
Perfect. Thank you.
Okay. Okay, I will do this way. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, we will start around 8 more minutes.
Okay.
Thank you, Prof.
The Allama Iqbal Open University was founded in 1974 to open fresh avenues in the lives of people through distance education. Only in a couple of decades, the globe became a replica of the system. Being a pioneer institution in Asia, the Allama Iqbal Open University hosted the Asian Association Open Universities Conference and now we earnestly prepare to wish all of you a warm welcome again. Every possible measure is being taken to make the international event constructive and comfortable. The conference website has been developed to facilitate registration, queries, and contact. Wi-Fi system is available in the campus for continuous communications. Central Library and Digital Library services will also be available for consultation and reference. To make your stay more comfortable, arrangements are being made in the hotels of international chains. You will be served with a variety of foods, especially the Oriental foods, with a blend of spices that will add to your taste. Visits to sites of cultural heritage would make a part of exciting tourism. Domestic handicrafts and products will be your shopping contact for family and friends. The Allama Iqbal Open University is making all-out efforts to groom technology-oriented human resource through information and communication technology. Electronic and cyber communication formats are applied in teaching methodology. High-tech electronic software is produced in the Institute of Education Technology. These radio and television programs support the academic content of the university courses. The Center for Instructional Design has recently been established to develop electronic courseware for various programs. The student-centered arrangements also include campus radio, online learning, and educational television. Print materials like books, study guides sent by mail, tutorial instructions, face-to-face sessions in clusters of sciences and laboratories, group training workshops, faculties, and academic program. 35 academic departments of 4 faculties offer 104 programs of studies ranging from secondary level programs to research-based MPhil and PhD programs. The Allama Iqbal Open University ranks among mega universities in the world. We firmly believe in sharing experiences to innovate new structures in distance education. Together, we can enrich the existing practices and explore viable possibilities in education of technology, engineering, agriculture, and medical sciences in open distance learning framework.
To meet the adequacy, accessibility, and quality of information systems, UT possesses sufficient network facilities, infrastructures, and optimal information technology services. UT has a data center that adheres to Tier 3 standards. The data center was constructed alongside the Disaster Recovery Center, DRC, situated in separate locations within the same region or island and off-site outside Java Island. Currently, UT has established 2 physically distinct DRC locations from the main data center. 1. Gedung Serbaguna, UT's first DRC location, is in a different building in the same area. This location contains a storage server and several servers for backup and emergency replacement servers. 2. DRC Nusantara Data Center, NDC Batam, in collaboration with one of Moratalindo's internet services in Indonesia. UT uses Microsoft Azure and DigitalOcean in the realm of cloud data centers. Regarding servers, each unit at UT's head office and regional offices has approximately 200 virtual servers for data backup and unit application development. This hosting server is managed by the Directorate of Information Systems with more than 50 physical servers installed. UT's internet connection consists of international and domestic internet lines with sufficient bandwidth with a total capacity of 5 Gbps internationally and 10 Gbps nationally, using 5 Internet Service Providers or ISPs. For internal networks or local area networks or LANs that connect between buildings in UT head office, the fiber cable bandwidth used varies with the backbone of the LAN inter-building network of 10 Gbps and 1 Gbps for each network subnet. The regional offices of UT possess ample bandwidth capacity, offering speeds ranging from 100 to 200 Mbps. UT regional offices typically subscribe to a single Internet Service Provider, ISP, in the area, such as IndiHome or ASTINet, with different capacities available. Additionally, all office computers are connected to the internal network or local area network. The Virtual Private Network or VPN connection established between the head office and all regional offices of UT offers speeds of up to 10 Mbps with a robust backbone capacity of up to 400 Mbps. The infrastructure is generally utilized for various purposes, including accessing application systems, databases, and communication tools like video conferencing and PABX, and providing internet connectivity. UT provides lecturers and students with various facilities to engage in online learning activities and access informational resources and enrichment materials. These facilities include 1. eCampus email service, which offers a generous 50 GB inbox capacity and 1 TB of integrated OneDrive storage through Office 365. In addition to facilitating communication between students and lecturers. 2. Complimentary access to Wi-Fi.ID hotspots, which is the result of cooperation between UT and Telkom. These hotspots are available at equipped locations and have been installed across all regional offices of UT. Along with the development of technology and information, Universitas Terbuka provides the best services for its students. UT presents one of the superior applications called MyUT. MyUT application is here to make it easier for students to get various information related to learning processes. MyUT application has implemented single sign-on technology, or SSO. This application is an authentication service system to assist students in signing into a site or application. With this new system, students only need to sign in with an Office 365 account to enter various applications at once. Students can see personal dashboards through MyUT, including student data and academic development. In this scenario, students will have access to their payment status and a record of their courses. Additionally, they will also be able to access the following features: announcement and academic calendar, relevant information that can easily be accessed from WhatsApp and students' email, easy payment because it has implemented cash and card payment processor or 2C2P technology. Another facility MyUT offers is that students can directly enter online tutorial pages, webinar tutorials, and practicum practices without signing into their respective applications. Likewise, with other services such as registration, teaching materials, examinations, student activities, and graduation, students only need to select the desired services and will automatically enter the desired application. It is also equipped with a chatbot feature to make it easier for students to support their learning process. MyUT also offers other benefits to UT students, including assistance to students in finding exam locations through the Examination Participant Card feature, which seamlessly integrates with exam location maps specific to each UT regional office. The website-based and mobile-based MyUT make it easier for students to get services anywhere and anytime.
Assalamualaikum, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, ladies and gentlemen. I'm Fauzi Rahman on behalf of AAOU Secretariat. Would like to thank and welcome you all to the 8th episode of AAOU Webinar 2023. And the theme for today is Optimizing Technology Enhanced Learning in OFDL. Today, we are very grateful to have two distinguished speakers. The first one is Professor Kumiko Aoki from Open University of Japan. And the second speaker is Dr. Reinald Adrian DL Pugoy, M.Sc. from the University of the Philippines Open University, or UPOU. And we also have the moderator for today is Ms. Adisthy Shabrina Nurqamarani, M.Sc. from Universitas Terbuka. Usually, the AAOU webinar is officially opened by the president of AAOU, but due to another important appointment, he will be represented by the AAOU Secretary General. With that, I will welcome Mr. Rahmat Liman SSM, PhD, as the Secretary General to deliver the opening remarks and officially open the webinar. The mic and screen is yours. Please.
Thank you, Mr. Fauzi Rahman. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Good morning, good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, AAOU members, esteemed colleagues, distinguished speakers, and all participants. I'm pleased and honored to welcome you to the 8th episode of the AAOU webinar. As you know, it will be the final episode of 2023. The theme of today's webinar is Optimizing Technology Enhanced Learning in OFDL, which reflects the ever-evolving landscape of education in our digital age. As we navigate the challenges and opportunities presented by open, flexible, and distance learning, the insight and experiences shared by our distinguished speakers promise to be both enlightening and transformative. We are privileged to have two distinguished speakers with us today, which bringing a wealth of knowledge and expertise. First, we have Professor Kumiko Aoki, who represents the Center of ICT and Distance Education at the Open University of Japan. Thank you very much for joining us today. Next, our speaker is Dr. Reinald Adrian DL Pugoy, M.Sc. He is an assistant professor at the University of the Philippines Open University. Thank you for accepting our invitation. And I would like also to thank the moderator for today, Ms. Adisthy Shabrina Nurqamarani, BA M.Sc from Universitas Terbuka. We embark on this webinar and let us embrace the opportunity to learn, share, and collaborate toward advancing open, flexible, and distance learning in the Asian region. Before I end my remark, I would like to inform you that next year, in 2024, the AAOU is preparing a more interesting topics for the webinar, particularly for you who are doing research. The focus of our webinar is how to create to create a good research. So you will be informed how to start a research from the beginning until the end, presenting the result. And last, of course, we will inform you how to publish research article in a reputable journal. So please remember, next year, we hope that you do not miss the webinars. Once again, thank you very much, as this is the end of this month of 2023. I would like to say Merry Christmas to you, all of you, and have a nice weekend and Happy New Year. Thank you. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam. Thank you very much, Mr. Secretary General, for a warm opening remarks. And to moderate the session of discussion and presentation and discussion, I will welcome the moderator for today, Ms. Adisthy Shabrina Nurqamarani, M.Sc. And I will also read her short bio first. So Adisthy Shabrina Nurqamarani is an associate lecturer at Universitas Terbuka, Indonesia, with a diverse background in teaching, business development, and marketing. Her research interests cover marketing strategy, technology adoption, international business, and open, flexible, and distance learning. She's also involved in consultancy, contributing to projects like Direct Power Stations CCS project and Fairfax Indonesia's export sales. Her teaching approach is known for effectively bridging theory and practical application. With that, I will turn the session to you, Adisthy, please. Okay, please try to. All right.
Thank you. Yeah, thank you, Mr. Fauzi, and thank you, AAOU Secretariat, for the opportunity. Assalamualaikum. Good morning, everyone. The Honorable Secretary General of AAOU, Mr. Ahmad Budiman, PhD, the Honorable Speakers, Prof. Aoki and Dr. Reinald, and to all fellow participants. Welcome to our webinar series on optimizing technology enhanced learning in open and flexible distance learning proudly brought to you by the Asian Association of Open University. I'm Adisthy Shabrina. I'm a lecturer in Business Administration program at Universitas Terbuka, and I'm glad to be your moderator for today's exciting discussion. Ladies and gentlemen, before we start, let me inform the rules of our webinar. Okay, the Q&A session will be start after the two speakers have delivered their presentation. For those of you who would like to ask the question, please write down your details as follows: name, institution, country, and intended speakers. Second, the questions will be firstly read by me as the moderator once it is displayed on the screen, and the speaker may answer afterwards. Third, for those of you who would like to get the certificate, make sure that you have filled out the registration form in advance. You have followed the whole program and filling out the feedback form, and the link will be shared after the program. So that's the rule of our webinar. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, let me introduce our first esteemed speaker today. We are honored to have with us Professor Kumiko Aoki. Okay, how are you, Professor?
I'm very good, thank you.
Okay.
Good
Thank you,
morning. I
Good
think
morning.
over there it's good morning, and actually in Japan it's just past the noon, so good afternoon.
Okay, good afternoon, Professor Kumiko. Please allow me to read out your profile first.
Sure.
Okay. Professor Kumiko Aoki is a professor of informatics at the Open University of Japan. She has built a distinguished academic career blending education, communication, and IT. She earned her PhD in communication and information sciences from the University of Hawaii. Prof. Aoki's early academic roles include serving as Assistant Professor of Information Technology at Rochester Institute of Technology during 1995 to 1998 and as Assistant Professor of Communication at Boston University during 1998 to 2003. At OUJ, Professor Aoki's commitment to enhance accessibility and effectiveness is evident. She advocates for open and flexible teaching and learning methodologies, harnessing the power of digital media, social informatics, and e-learning. As a pioneer in online education, she has played a crucial role in advancing both asynchronous and synchronous learning modalities at Open University of Japan. Her current research delves into the innovative use of metaverse and AI technology, aiming to enrich lifelong and life-wide learning experience. Such a comprehensive profile, Professor Kumiko. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, today we have privilege to have the opportunity to learn from her insights on optimizing technology to enhance learning in OFDL. So, Professor Aoki, we eagerly anticipate your presentation and excited to delve into the subject. We allocate 30 minutes for you that will be followed by a Q&A session after the second presenter. So without further ado, let's give a warm welcome to Professor Aoki. The time and screen is yours.
Thank you very much, the moderator. And today's topic is, let me share the presentation first and see, do you see the presentation okay?
Sure, perfect.
Okay. Okay, as it's indicated in here, I'm just trying to organize. Okay, the title of my talk is Next Generation Distance Education, Blending Synchronous and Asynchronous Learning in Virtual Commons. As you are all, I suppose, practitioners of open and distance education, I guess the characteristics of OFDL is, first of all, open, accessible to anybody who wants to study, and flexible, which means the student can study anytime and distance. The student can study anywhere using technologies usually, and learning requiring self-direction. So those are the main characteristics of our OFDL. And the most actually prominent focus nowadays, or used to be just, it didn't have the emphasis of flexible, but nowadays the emphasis is placed on this flexible learning, which means the student can learn anytime they want. So that flexibility, the OFDL is allowing, which is very crucial in allowing everybody to study at their own convenience. And the pandemic, we kind of are now coexisting with this COVID-19 viruses, but during pandemic, we actually experienced a lot of unprecedented things, which may actually work well in our distance education programs, and sometimes which is not. But the pandemic actually forced us to cancel all the face-to-face classes, even our distance education programs. I think all of you may have some kind of face-to-face classes. And during the pandemic, we cannot really conduct any face-to-face classes, which means we have to substitute something for face-to-face classes. And not only in the distance education universities or programs, but also regular on-campus programs, they had to conduct regular on-campus classes. So they have to actually move on to online learning, or some people say emergency remote learning, ERL, or some kind of distance education, which usually use a web conferencing system, which is not very commonly used in on-campus programs, and also even in distance education programs. The use of web conferencing systems had been limited before the pandemic. But because of the pandemic didn't allow us to meet face-to-face, the widespread use of web conference systems have been seen in every scene of education, not regardless of higher education, but also in K-12 schools, education, and so forth. So the pandemic actually kind of changed our focus to a more synchronous mode of learning. In terms of the my university, the Open University of Japan, during the pandemic, we canceled all the face-to-face classes in 2020, the April of 2020, when we realized we are not allowed to actually hold any face-to-face classes. But there already registration has been done, and students have paid for their registration fees by this time. And of course, we actually funded some of the the registration fees, but also we actually came up with some substitute to those people who want to actually take credit for face-to-face classes in the semester. And some people may want to actually graduate at the end of the semester. So in order to actually deprive the opportunity from them, we actually offered synchronous online classes. Actually, this is the very first time we offer synchronous online classes, because we offer online classes previously, but all the online classes had been asynchronous, which means it's not real time. And so we experimental basis offered using web conferencing system, Zoom, started to offer synchronous online classes. And then through the experiences of offering online classes, synchronous online classes, we learned that some students really like that asynchronous online classes, and they actually asked for more synchronous online classes. So we actually set up the task force to actually consider to make those synchronous online classes as a permanent our educational model. And there are so many things we have to actually consider because of that. The organizational structure were actually set up for more asynchronous online courses as well as asynchronous broadcasting classes. And the synchronous classes we only offer at study center in the mode of face-to-face classes. So we set up the task force to consider all the ramification of actually making and offering synchronous online classes at a permanent basis. And in 2021, on October of 2021, which is actually, in our case, the second semester of the fiscal year, we started to offer synchronous online classes as a trial basis. And task force members actually discussed based on all that evaluation, the surveys and all that the group interview of the student, what are the advantages of disadvantages of offering synchronous online classes at a permanent basis. And in last fiscal year, it's more large-scale trial of offering synchronous online classes started. And starting this year, the synchronous online classes, we named it live web classes, become more permanent educational offering at my university. So this is kind of the timeline, the 3-year timeline of experimenting synchronous online classes. So before pandemic, we offer an asynchronous mode of courses, mostly broadcasting programs in the mode of online using LMS, which we use Moodle, and open source Moodle as a learning management system for online courses. And for synchronous mode of offering, as I said before, we only offer face-to-face classes at the various study centers around the country. So it's kind of limited in terms of the number of students who can take those face-to-face classes. They have to travel to the study center, nearest study center, and they have to actually book the time, and they have to actually dedicate. Usually it's on the weekends, Saturday and Sunday. It's very intense classes, but sometimes it's offered in weekdays. So that's the educational model before pandemic. And during the pandemic, we started to offer this virtual face-to-face classes in terms of using Zoom web conferencing system. And as I said, after pandemic, we have asynchronous mode of communication, still asynchronous mode of education. As before, the broadcasting program, we still offer in combination with print materials and online courses. We still offer asynchronous mode of online classes using Moodle. And as a synchronous mode of educational delivery, we still, of course, offer face-to-face classes. After pandemic, we are now allowed to actually offer face-to-face classes as well. And of course, there are big advantage of offering face-to-face classes. And students love to attend those face-to-face classes if they can, because then they can see other students and they can have more spontaneous communication and so forth. But we started to offer web conferencing, live web classes as a permanent basis. So this is the current educational model of OUJ. The thing is that, so I think all of you might have actually experienced this dilemma of asynchronous learning versus synchronous learning. Asynchronous learning allows flexibility. As I said before, open and flexible distance learning, the flexibility is the key. And asynchronous learning allows those flexibility for students to learn anytime. But at the same time, the flexibility also actually causes isolation, because usually the student have to be in the remote mode and by him or herself in the study. And of course, they can do some communication using written board systems or asynchronous mode of communication, which actually alleviates some of the isolation factor, but it's not really necessarily alleviating all the isolation factor. Isolation actually leads to kind of decreased motivation, and also can actually eventually lead to dropout of from the courses. So That's actually the dilemma we have. At the same time, synchronous learning actually tend to engage students more, and students tend to get more motivated to attend synchronous learning if the time and the place allow. But also, it's restricted in terms of the time. So it's always a dilemma of those asynchronous and synchronous learning. And after the experience of live web classes, we conducted extensive surveys every time the course was conducted synchronously. And at the beginning, the satisfaction level was about, this is not really to separate things, but in the Likert scale of very satisfied to neutral and satisfied and very dissatisfied. Yes. And this is that actually, as the time progresses, interesting to change occurred. Well, the last year at the first semester, they were more satisfied. But when the second semester, they're less satisfied in terms of the percentage of satisfied student. I don't know how I can actually explain this. They are more used to this kind of synchronous mode of classes, so that they actually demand more, they expect more. So in that mode, they actually are not very as satisfied as before. And this is also the satisfaction willingness to take in the future from the survey. And the satisfaction level was the peak at the first semester of 2022, last year. And then even though the willingness to take in the future kind of decreases in the second semester. And I'm not really sure why, as I said. But in terms of student satisfaction, many people actually commented in the open-ended responses. The accessibility or convenience is the biggest factor. They don't need to go anywhere, and it's very easy to take classes from home at their own convenience and in comfortable setting. In terms of during the pandemic, well, having synchronous classes instead of going to face-to-face classes at the study center, they don't have to be afraid of contacting viruses. So health safety. And also there are some few interaction allowed, and then the possibility of interacting with peers. And also before this kind of synchronous classes, they can actually gather in study center, but the study center is very limited in terms of geographical reach, so that only students who can actually near the study center can come to the study center, but it's very difficult for students to interact with other part of the country. But synchronous class allow the student to interact with those students from all different part of the country. And also synchronous classes allow immediate feedback. They can actually ask questions to teachers, and teachers can answer real time and so forth. That actually contributed to the satisfactory, the strong satisfaction of the student taking synchronous classes. And we also actually conducted a survey for those people who didn't really take live web classes, and see what are the reasons why they actually didn't choose to take live web classes. And so of course, many students didn't actually know the existence of live web classes. If they didn't know the existence of live web classes, they couldn't take, of course. So we actually first asked, do you know about live web classes? And only slightly more than half of the students actually knew about live web classes we offered, and many students didn't know. So we have to think of some way to publicize better. And so those people who knew about live web classes but didn't take live web classes, would you like to take live web classes in the future? Well, less than half of the students said yes. And many people answered either not sure or no, didn't intend to take those live web classes in the future. And there are various reasons. Those are the reasons they listed. And the biggest reason was that I don't want to be confined by the time. The time constraint seems to be the biggest factor because many of the students actually work and during the day, and maybe we didn't really offer many classes on the weekend. So for many students, it was difficult to take online synchronous classes because of the time. And in terms of what kind of tools they are willing to use, are you willing to use the following function in Zoom? Many students actually said if necessary, they are willing to use chat function, that the text chat function. Less percentage of people said willing to use a microphone. And then again, a fewer percentage of people are willing to use camera. So as you see, many students are not really thrilled to use camera in web conferencing system. There must be various reasons for that. Of course, the privacy factors. Many students are kind of shy. They don't really want to show their faces. They want to show the background of their private setting. And also they may actually are afraid of making camera on, that the speed of internet connection would be the factor. So the more willing to use chat, microphone, or camera in Zoom, they are more likely to want to take live web classes in the future. That's a kind of correlation we find out. And kind of, well, it's natural conclusion. And in terms of wishes and wants, we asked open-ended questions. What do we expect from live web classes? Well, they want to have some time shifting feature, or make recordings of the classes available. Not all that attendance will be required, but if you can actually attend some of the sessions asynchronously, that would be, it seems to be what they want. And also they want to have more discussion or student presentation-oriented classes, more active learning, because most asynchronous learning, we tend to actually flood them with lectures. And we have enough lectures, and what they want as a student, that they want to do more active learning, more hands-on workshops and experiments and so forth, and more personalized advice they want to, in terms of writing reports and so forth. And they want to actually attend on the go, which means they want to actually make it available more on smartphones. Well, it's not impossible to actually attend using smartphone, but it's very difficult in a sense that sometimes teachers show very fine prints of slides, and it's very difficult for students to see that on a small screen. And make technical supports available. So they want to have more technical support. And also they demand the use of camera and microphone optional, not really mandatory. And some actually students really like to use the camera and microphone so that they can be more like attending face-to-face classes. So it's very different depending on the student, and many students really don't want to use camera and so forth. So there have to be some kind of leeway for students to actually choose in terms of the use of camera and microphone. So I've been thinking, so there are some advantages of using asynchronous learning, and there are advantages of using synchronous learning if we can use both in terms of the learning mode. That would be ideal. But if we choose synchronicity, and then we actually lose some of the advantages we had as asynchronous learning. And I call that asynchronicity paradox. So how can we overcome those synchronicity paradox? One way I thought of for many students who want to take synchronous learning, it's not just the teacher interaction. Of course, it would be nice to ask teachers in real time and get answers in real time. But according to the survey I conducted, many students really appreciate the student interaction, the peer interaction, synchronous interaction, so that student can actually feel not isolated. They are not alone in studying, but they can actually interact with students and actually ask questions, not just teachers, but the students, so that they can actually on the equal footing, and they can actually understand better by explaining to each other. So I think we, as the provider of OFDL, we should provide some virtual spaces for students to interact each other in real time. And they come up with the technological solution. Nowadays, we see a lot of metaverse in media, and we should utilize metaverse in teaching and learning. And so there is a growing interest in incorporating metaverse in educational settings. And then metaverse can offer interactive and immersive experiences that can be very engaging for learners. And it's also suited for remote learning, because in metaverse, they don't have to be in the same physical space. And it allows simulated experiences and allow also personalized learning experiences as well. And it can actually help develop 21st century skills. So all those actually merits metaverse offer in OFDL. And also, I also actually, this is the most important advantage of using metaverse, is that it allows possibility of collaboration and social interaction among students, which tend to be lacking in OFDL setting. And that's why students tend to be kind of feel isolated. So there are many different kinds of metaverse, as you know. If you hear the term metaverse, usually people think of XR. XR meaning that virtual reality, augmented reality, mixed reality. And those things tend to be good at using to interacting with learning materials. They can actually to see learning materials in very realistic setting, and can actually interact with object or learning materials. But the disadvantage at this stage, it may actually change in the future. But at this point, disadvantage is that it requires pretty pricey dedicated headset or so-called head-mount displays, and relatively high-performance computers. Not only that, has to require, if they are using that the remote setting, pretty high high-speed internet connection. So those things actually, it's prohibitive at this stage for most of our students who are not in terms of technological equipment, or they not all of them can afford this kind of pricey equipment. But if we actually utilize 2D metaverse are not much talked about because of that, or the attention tend to be going to those XR. But 2D metaverse can offer many advantages of metaverse offer. And 2D metaverse can offer the socializing and communicating among students. And they can be accessed from the most of computers. That's the biggest advantage of 2D metaverse over those 3D XR metaverse. Most 2D metaverse don't require high performance computers or high spec computers, but only the internet connection and regular browser will be sufficient to access to 2D metaverse. And 2D metaverse platforms, advantages, as I said, it's accessible for many students, and it's very easy to use. Just using mouse to point and click, and then it doesn't really require high-spec computers. And they can actually use in regular desktop setting, or of course, they can do the smartphone, but it's not really unfamiliar head-mount display. Sometimes using head-mount display for lengthy period of time can actually make the person kind of sick, the motion sickness. But that doesn't occur at 2D metaverse. And it's very easy to navigate and interact. And because of that, it actually has a potential for broader audience reach. And less physical space required in 3D metaverse the user have to have a certain physical space as well, because it has to use the body to move around or move hands and the head. But in 2D metaverse, doesn't require those physical space. And it can easily integrate with other tools such as web conferencing systems like Zoom or other video watching tools like YouTube and so forth. It can integrate with many other familiar computer tools or internet tools with those 2D metaverse. And fairly cost effective. It doesn't require a lot of money to start. And even the monthly payment is not that expensive. And in terms of examples of 2D metaverse platform, there are actually many. I'm sure depending on the country you reside, the different 2D metaverse platforms are available. In Japan, some of that actually 2D metaverse platforms are listed here are available, but not really in a local language. For example, Gather the Town, it's very, very popular in US, and there are many studies done in terms of educational application of Gather the Town, but those are pretty much in English-speaking countries. It's actually started in the US and it's spread in English-speaking countries. And in terms of the local language interface, it's kind of limited. There are Ovis, which is it's popular in Japan as well. I think it started in Korea, I believe, but this has a multilingual interface. And the MetaLife and the Remo, and we actually at this stage chose to use this is only available in Japan, the FAM Campus. It's just because we can work with developers to actually customize that to their need. And at this stage, we are trying to actually use this 2D Meta Campus to actually offer so-called virtual study center. We have study centers, as I said, all over the country. And every student is required to actually register for one of the study centers around the country. We have around 50 study centers. And every student has to be belonging to one of the study center for the study support. And before we actually started to do home exam, the student have to actually come to the study center to take exam. Nowadays, they can actually take at home, but they still have to belong to the study center. But if we offer a virtual study center, there is no physical limitation, the geographical limitation. The student around the country can actually interact in one virtual space. So as a common feature, we have the 2D metaverse offer avatars, which may be advantageous for students who are shy and who don't really want to show their own faces and so forth. The layout is usually customizable, and the student can actually have personal conversation in the proximity, meaning that if they actually go over to the person nearby, they can actually have web conference. It trigger web conferencing, and they can actually have personal conversation. They can actually choose communication tools, and also student can set up, of course, at the university, we can set up meetings and events, but student can also set up their own study session, and they can move freely between groups and can actually create own multimedia content and actually they can actually share different document. Of course, the university can share multimedia content and sharing different content and capability for direct message. All those features most 2D metaverse platform offer. So it's I think the 2D metaverse for now, well, in the future, when 3D metaverse become more common and more reasonable in terms of cost, I think 2D metaverse will provide very good space, virtual space for informal learning, language learning, learning community building, social learning, role playing, and the teachers offering office hours. So we can actually create virtual campus on 2D metaverse. And that's our next project I'm working on with the colleagues of the team of colleagues. And we try to actually build virtual study center to bridge synchronous and synchronous modalities for enriched learning experience for students. So this is my talk. Thank you very much. And I think I will go to the question and answer session. And I will, for now, stop this sharing. And
Hey, thank you, Professor Kumiko, for the insightful presentation. So please allow me to highlight some key points from your presentation. So thank you for sharing how the journey of OUJ in utilizing technology, especially during the pandemic, that now you also utilize asynchronous online classes. And also you mentioned about how it increased the student satisfaction and student engagement as well. I think it's also interesting to note that the Metaverse 2D project is also interesting to implement it in Indonesia, considering the digital divide that we have across the region. I think we can have some discussion about it later, but before that, we will move on to the next presenter first. Thank you, Prof. Kumiko.
thank you.
Okay, thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, before we move on to the next segment, please allow me to remind the rules of our webinar today. Okay, for the participants, if you would like to ask your question, please type in the chat box and don't forget to mention your name, institution, country, and the intended speakers. The question will be firstly read by me, and then once it is displayed on the screen, the speaker may answer afterwards. And for those of you who would like to get a certificate, make sure that you have filled out the registration form, follow the whole program, and filling out the feedback the link will be shared after the program. Okay? Thank you. And we'll move on to the next presenter. Now it is my pleasure to introduce our second speaker, Dr. Reinald Adrian Pugoy. Okay, Dr. Reinald, are you with us?
Yes, I am.
Okay, good afternoon. And how are you, Dr. Reinald?
I'm good. Yeah, I'm feeling good. Thank you.
Okay. Dr. Reinald, please allow me to read your profile first. So Dr. Reinald is an assistant professor at the University of the Philippines of Open University, where he has been teaching since 2015. He mostly teaches graduate courses on programming language and artificial intelligence. He received his Bachelor and Master of Science degrees in computer science from the University of the Philippines, Los Banos. He completed his PhD in January 2023 in computer science and information engineering at the National Cheng Kung University in Tainan City, Taiwan. He was also a research fellow at the Anadolu University in Turkey from September to November 2023. He is also an active researcher in the field of distance e-learning and artificial intelligence, and his work has been published in top academic journals and conferences. He is also a recipient of several awards for his teaching and research, including the UPOU Gawat Chancellor for Outstanding Faculty and the Gold Medal of the Asian Association of Open Universities Young Innovator Awards. Such a comprehensive profile, Dr. Reinald. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, he will be shedding light on how to optimize technology to enhance learning in open, flexible, and distance learning. Dr. Reinald, we allocate 30 minutes for your talk, followed by a Q&A session. So without further ado, let's give a warm welcome to Dr. Reinald. The time is yours.
All right. Thank you for that long introduction. I mean, I'm humbled by that. And let me share my screen first. Okay, I hope that you can see my presentation already.
Sure, perfect.
All right, so the official title of my talk this morning, Optimizing Learning, Understanding AI in Education, because one of the ways how we can optimize learning, OFDL, is through AI. And this is the elephant in the room nowadays. So again, I am Dr. Reinald Pugoy, Assistant Professor and ICT Director at the UP Open University. And my approach this morning is more on a more general perspective, because in order for us to even consider using AI in our respective educational setups, it is actually important for us to understand what AI really is, because anything that we do, it has to be aligned with the proper understanding of the underlying ICT, AI, computer science principles. And I actually asked ChatGPT this time. I asked it, is this a good title? Optimizing Learning, Understanding AI in Education. And ChatGPT told me that, sure, it is a clear and engaging title with the focus on the thorough understanding of AI in the realm of education. So this is my outline for my presentation this morning. And mind you, since the rise of ChatGPT, November 2022, happy birthday, ChatGPT, I've been giving talks all around the country, all around the world. And this time, the one that I'm giving right now, I believe this is my 15th speaking engagement already. Anything that has to do with AI. Just to make sure that we are all on the same page, AI, this is my definition. It is a process of replicating human knowledge, which I'm pretty sure you are quite familiar with right now. And the basis of the replication of this human knowledge, because it is artificial, it is based on the data that we humans have produced, so that it is able to perform different tasks that we humans normally perform, such as classification, prediction, and generation, with outstanding and astounding accuracy, which I'm also sure you have witnessed nowadays. And the field of AI is quite big. There are numerous subfields of AI, because I know some people would equate AI to be equal to generative AI. That is actually wrong. All right, there are many subfields of AI, and one of those is, generative AI. And the rise of ChatGPT, Google Bard, and other generative AI models have actually ushered us in what we call the breakout year of AI this year, 2023. And talking about Gen AI, again, AI is not equal to Gen AI. Gen AI is just one of those subfields. It is important that we take note of that. Generative AI, because the root word, it can generate. That's it. It can generate or create new data in different formats, such as text, images, videos, audio. And again, the basis of its generation or generated capability would be the training data set that we humans have produced. And those data can be gathered from all across the World Wide Web. And under Gen AI is the large language model. Gen AI is actually not equal to LLM, or AI is not equal to LLM, because I know some people would think like this. It's actually not. So we can say that LLM is the grandson of AI. An LLM, if we can formally define it, is a type of generative AI that is specifically designed to produce text. That's it, language, text. And I'm going to talk briefly about the underlying theory. Yeah, just quite quick. And the reason why LLMs are accurate is because of this particular task called language modeling. Language modeling is just a complicated word for or term for guessing the next word, such that given a sequence of words, the LLM or the AI has to accurately guess the next word based on a statistical probability distribution of possible words. For example, the center of the solar system is the blank. The AI has to correctly guess which should go in that blank. That's it. And how does it learn? Again, the training data. Imagine that we have billions of data, and you do that training, you do the teaching to the AI for trillions of times. How can it not get accurate with this? Yeah, just imagine it's a ginormous computer program that is programmed to learn upon repeated exposure to the data that we humans have produced. That's why, let's say, after the training is done, let's say that the probability for the sun as the answer is 95%. And let's also say that there are certain poor data, and that's why Earth is assigned 3% and Moon 2%. And AI has to select that word which has the high probability, which is the sun, of course. That's why we can consider ChatGPT and the other large language models as autocomplete on steroids. And having said this, we were talking about probability distribution statistics. Yeah, because the way ChatGPT and the other LLMs are based on statistics, finding out statistical relationships between words, sentences, phrases. Do you still think that AI is sentient and has emotions? Because I know there are some quarters of people thinking such. However, that is actually ridiculous. It's no different from saying that probability distributions are emotional, right? Plain ridiculous. And some said that it's like a dangerous magic genie. Again, it's based on statistics. And AI, these computer programs involve a lot of computations, a lot of mathematics. That's why it's successful, because of the underlying computing hardware infrastructure that is powering these AI tools, these AI models. So briefly, again, I'm like a broken record. We have to understand this kind of diagram. We have AI, the big field. Under AI, we have Gen AI. And under Gen AI, we have large language models, which would involve ChatGPT and Bard. And now I'm going to talk about the convergence of AI in education. We argue, and we can all agree, that AI is converging with virtually every aspect of our lives. And according to this Google guy, Sundar Pichai, AI will be part of our future. And I'd like to add that future is now. There's this particular survey given to about 20,000 online respondents from 28 different countries. They were asked, how will AI change our lives? And according to them, the field or the aspect that will be most likely affected by AI is education, with about 35% indicating such. We can say that the convergence of AI in education, which would involve OFDL, is unprecedented. Why? The field is rapidly advancing. That in such a short span of time, we are seeing advancements after advancements, progress after progress in terms of AI algorithms, models, technologies, techniques, and capabilities. Another reason, the field, AI, is transformative and disruptive, that it has the promise to fundamentally change the way we live, study, work, and interact with our surroundings. And third, AI is persisting and ubiquitous, that AI is here to stay. It's not going anywhere. It's here to stay. As we keep on producing more and more data as the days go by, we are actually powering AI, possibly leading to changes in our roles as educators and changes in the academic landscape. And as educators, well, probably sometime this year you have asked this question, what are our options? There are certain extreme people saying that maybe we should ban AI altogether because we expect our students to misuse it, or we become the bigger people and we show them the way how to use AI in a more responsible manner. That's why my encouragement is for us to learn to adopt and adapt. In the same way that the past technologies have been released to us, later on I'm going to talk about that. What we can do again is to learn to adopt and adapt and preach the responsible and safe use of AI. And this is the trend, I'd say, in many first world countries such as Singapore. And according to their Ministry of Education, and I quote, "It can be a useful tool for learning only when students have mastered basic concepts and thinking skills. This is why the Ministry of Education will also equip students with the skills to use AI tools responsibly." In this AI-driven revolution, should we panic? I know there are certain people who are prone to panicking or scared or what, I don't know. But the panic surrounding AI is not that different when the first computers were created. Right? I mean, think about this or imagine when the first computers were released to the wild, were released to the public, you can imagine that certain people would say, oh, computers are out to take our jobs, causing the loss of jobs consequently. But what happened? Computers are here with us. I can give this talk, I can prepare this PPT because of the computers. Another thing, the internet. I remember there was this particular news article in 1990 saying that the internet was just a passing fad. It's just gonna die soon. It's a gimmick. What happened to the internet? The reason why we have this webinar is because of the internet, right? I mean, we learn to adopt and adapt. It shouldn't be any different with what we are experiencing right now with the rise, with the ubiquity of AI. And I'm gonna talk briefly about the applications of just a moment of AI in education. I'd say that there are three main categorizations of AI in education. Of course, we have the student focus. I'd call that the learning. I mean, that is in the official title of what we are having this morning, right? I'm gonna give a little more focus to the first category. The second one would be teacher focus, more on the teaching, aims to help or support the teachers or the professors. And we also have more on the administration side, which is institution focus. This would involve AI tools designed to help with back-end administrative tasks that educational institutions all need to do. Yeah, and AI can be our assistant, not our replacement, but as our assistant, that it can supplement our efforts, the efforts of the teachers, the efforts of the students, that it can give us concise information to discuss a particular topic. And I'd like to highlight, I'm guessing that the majority of us are using ChatGPT, right? More on the ChatGPT side than the Google Bard side. So if you're not familiar with Google Bard, I actually have inclination, a little more inclination toward Google Bard than ChatGPT. Because if you're dealing with the accuracy of the information, you want to get some sources, then Google Bard would be better comparing to ChatGPT. Yeah, I've asked this particular question. I don't need to show the question. Anyway, just scroll down. If you ask a question to Google Bard, just scroll down. And you should see this button, this G button. The great thing about clicking that button, aside from the AI given answers, it will also give you the possible sources, which are highlighted in green. This is not possible with ChatGPT as far as I can remember. Yeah, and this is something that can somehow give more credibility to what we are doing. And another application of student-centered AI in education would be adaptive or intelligent tutoring systems. Yeah, this is the buzzword these days, this year. Yeah, like the last AAOU, we have been hearing about personalized learning, intelligent tutoring systems. Well, the basic premise about these systems is that they can adapt, they can adjust based on the performance, based on certain attributes of the students, so that it can provide individualized real-time guidance and feedback, again, based on the student. And the potential benefits, when I say potential benefits, these are the benefits that the developers claim. And we can imagine improved student outcomes, real-time feedback, increased student engagement, reduce teacher workload. However, if we check the existing literature, the evidence, the actual evidence of the benefits, this is not so bad news, but very limited evidence for any of the benefits listed above, despite these tools being the most researched and the most funded. Now, maybe this is something that we can think about. I mean, we have been mentioning about these things, but is the literature actually existing? If it is not existing, then we can start our own research, right? We can write something about this. Because one of the possible reasons is that almost all research have been conducted in small-scale studies or for marketing purposes for those who are using this for anything commercial related. Actually, my source here would be, yeah, you can take a look here. Yeah, there's this particular article or a documentation by Wayne Holmes last October 2023 rather. Another example, this is my favorite one. We can use AI as a support for learners with disabilities or who are differently abled, especially because we want to democratize access to quality education, and no one should be left behind, including those people who are quite different, if you will, such that AI-enabled tools, have been designed to support these people so that these tools can adapt to that particular person's unique needs or abilities. And while many such tools may be used in educational contexts, the thing is, few have been designed with education in mind. So it's like these tools were designed for another purpose and we're just using them, repurposing them for education. Yeah, it's not education to start with. The potential benefits, the claim rather, support for students who have specific visual, auditory, physical, or cognitive impairments, adapting to each person's unique needs and abilities. However, when we take a look on the actual evidences, here's the thing. There is very limited, robust evidence for any of the benefits listed, or let's say any recorded improvements in student learning. Maybe small-scale studies, but not that large scale, or we can say that the literature is quite thin at this point. And another, favorite application of mine would be we can use AI to perform research. Grammarly is actually AI powered. We can use AI such as Grammarly, even ChatGPT or Bard to enhance the readability and the language of our research papers. Another example would be on literature, that we can ask AI to provide us an overview of specific topic, compare different studies, or even provide bibliographic citations. However, I'd like to remind you, if you're gonna go this route, we have to be careful. Because I tried this in the past. I've asked AI to give me citations with the URLs with the proper sources, properly formatted. But when I check Google Scholar and the other primary sources of journal articles and information, those citations actually do not exist. Yeah, so it's something that we have to be mindful of. Yeah, AI is not perfect. Later on, I'm going to talk about that. And we can also use AI to help us sharpen our research questions. Because the traditional process, I mean, what we are doing, we identify a research gap, research issue, research problem, we review the literature, we use Google Scholar or whatever your favorite scholar is, we talk to our colleagues, we seek expert consultations. I'd like to make myself clear. That is not wrong. That is actually perfectly fine. But what I would like to point out right now, all of those existing great efforts can now be supplemented with a conversation with AI, such that we can provide initial information or context about our research questions, and we can use AI for inspiration. This would enable us or aid us to think more broadly and creatively about our respective researches. As an example, quick example, it was mentioned I am a computer scientist, so I've asked Google Bard what topics in theoretical computer science have been rarely explored or unanswered yet. I'd say that this is a quite acceptable list of answers. Okay. And then, based on what you mentioned above, formulate 10 relevant research questions. Voila, it's here. But again, I still have to do the rest of the hard work so that I can have a full research paper. I've only used AI so that I can have a seed, a starting point, right? I still have to do my methodology, my results, right? Yeah, we don't give AI the task that we should be doing, rather. And I'd like to highlight AI surely can generate valuable outputs, but human expertise, knowledge, and critical thinking are all essential to evaluate and refine those kinds of outputs. The suggestions given by AI should always be considered as a starting point for further exploration and validation that we will perform next. While AI can increase our work efficiencies, it should be treated not as our replacement, but as our assistant. The need for human review and validation will always be necessary to ensure accuracy. Why so? No AI model is 100% accurate. You gotta think about this, which would lead me to the next section of my presentation. I know I have 8 minutes left before the end of my presentation. I think afternoon already. Yeah, consequences of AI education. What are the consequences or the issues? Hallucination, biases, and discrimination, and toxicity. Yeah, I'm giving this particular part so that we have a balanced approach, right, toward AI. We talked already about the benefits. Now we talk about the things that we have to be wary of. Let's go to the first one, hallucination. This is very particular to Gen AI. Hallucination is just a complicated word for making up something. When it comes to creative content or brainstorming, this is totally fine. If you are writing a short story, a poem to your girlfriend or boyfriend, a song, that is totally fine because after all, you gotta make up something from out of nowhere. You gotta be creative about it, so that's totally fine. However, when it comes to the factual content, like a Q&A or performing research, as I mentioned earlier, we gotta exercise more caution because AI, Gen AI, can generate authoritative, plausible sounding, convincing, grammatically correct answers, but the content is actually wrong. This can range from minor inconsistencies to completely fabricated, contradictory, or even dangerous statements. As I mentioned, AI is not always accurate. ChatGPT, Bard, and the other large language models don't actually know what they are saying. They know what an answer should sound like. They know what an answer should look like, again, based on statistics, which is different from what an answer should be. That's why all of them are called stochastic parrots. right? You know how a parrot works, right? The stochastic parrots occur when LLMs learn to talk like a person, but does not really understand what they are saying. They are not capable of human-like reasoning or understanding. Again, like a parrot, you ask the parrot to say something, the parrot will repeat after you. But the question is, does the parrot really understand what you instructed it to repeat? Something similar to that. And according to Associate Professor Veliz, large language models are the ultimate blank. I cannot say the word. It's a negative word. The one with the B and the S, all right? I cannot say that in this public venue. Large language models are the ultimate, that one, because they are designed to be plausible and therefore convincing with no regard for the truth. Therefore, critical thinking is always necessary. We have to remind our constituents, our stakeholders, that answers given by AI is not credible and accurate all the time. That's why we gotta encourage them to think critically about whether to trust the answer and to confirm, validate with the other existing primary resources or references. Another issue would be biases and discrimination. If the data set is biased, then the AI model is biased as well. And the kind of biases we are talking about here can range from social, cultural, political, or even gender-based biases. We know that ChatGPT barred most of the AI models are Western creations. So it's no wonder that they reflect a more Western perspective. Just a quick example here, there was this Asian lady who asked AI to fine-tune, to improve her appearance in the photo, and the photo given back to her is of a Western lady. So when this news article or a social media post came out, I wasn't really surprised after all, because that means that, again, the training data set is Western. It contains a large amount of images of Western people. And another issue would be toxicity. I know some people would say they are afraid because AI would like to take over the world. You have heard about that? Or AI sounds so negative. AI wants to become human. That is also ridiculous. You know why AI talks like that? Talks that way? It is only reflective of the kind of language that we humans speak on the World Wide Web, that we humans speak on the internet. And it's entirely possible that it has crawled the data in those forums where people fight. Again, that's nothing surprising after all. If the data set is toxic, then AI is toxic as well. Again, whatever is in the data set, the behavior, the perspective, AI will simply adopt those. That's it. And I'm approaching the end of my talk this morning. I'd like to remind everyone, in the context of education, OFDL, or whatever other fields out there, AI is simply a tool. If the person using AI is good, AI is good. If the person using AI is bad, then AI is bad. It entirely depends on the person using it. As a quick example, you know a knife, right? A knife. You can use a knife in the kitchen, and that is beneficial, right? To prepare your food. Then the knife is good. On the other hand, the knife can be used to murder people. So if you think about it, it's really neutral. It depends on the person using it in the same way as AI. And we can see that there are numerous opportunities that AI has to offer in education, in OFDL, but we have to be aware of its pitfalls and weaknesses as well. That's why it is incumbent upon us, especially my fellow educators, that we gotta teach our stakeholders, constituents, students, colleagues, even family members to approach AI with a critical eye. And we gotta rethink. It is up to our respective academic freedoms. We consider the design of the classroom, We consider the objectives of the course. We consider the learning outcomes on the extent of how we're going to employ AI. And sure, I'm like a broken record. We gotta always exercise caution. AI can be confidently wrong. It can always hallucinate, especially the LLMs. It can generate grammatically correct, plausible sounding statements, which are actually superficial, false, dangerous, untrustworthy, incomplete, or even biased. AI is not a god, it's just a tool. No apocalypse is coming. We must resist cynicism and fear about AI, leading me to this next slide. Let's not listen to those doomsdayers. The Terminator is not really coming. It's extremely unlikely to come. And the reason why some people are afraid is because of the depictions about AI in various literary and cinematic work sources of science fiction. And people just mix science fiction with what AI really is, right? Yeah, so let's not listen. Do not listen, rather, to those doomsdayers. And human supervision will always be relevant and important. Without humans, AI is nothing. Because we produce the data that is powering AI. Without humans, AI is nothing. And if we ever use AI in the context of education, we gotta carefully review and revise the results given by AI. Because I know certain people will simply copy and paste. And voila, that's it. But we have to do our part. Review and revise first before using any information given to us by AI. AI given results should not be treated as gospel truth. And employing any AI tool should always be done with human oversight and guidance. Leading me to the last page of my PPT this morning. According to this particular Millard, a high school English teacher in Michigan, he said, I've been to former students' weddings and baby showers and funerals of their parents. I've hugged my students. I've high-fived my students. I've cried with my students. A computer will never do that. Ever, ever, ever. And with that, I thank you all for listening.
Well, thank you so much, Dr. Reinald, for the insightful presentation. So you have shared with us about AI in education. You share how AI can actually help us to do a teaching process as well as the research. And you also brought to us about the drawbacks of AI, like hallucination, bias, and discrimination, as well as toxicity. It's also interesting that you brought the image of Terminator, that because some of people say that maybe the chat GPT will be a Terminator in the future, but you already say that chat GPT or AI is depends on us humans, so do not worry about it, the AI. Okay. Thank you once again, Dr. Reinald, and also to Prof. Kumiko. We will move on to the next segment, which is a Q&A. We already have several questions from our audience in chat box, and the team will share it. Okay. So the first question is from Astuti Aziz from BPSDM Sulsel, Indonesia, to Professor Kumiko. Prof. Kumiko, thanks for introducing some 2D metaverse platforms. And would you like to share the challenges you had using the platforms? And what are the students' response to the platforms? Does Japan, as the Asian leading IT country, develop similar platform too? Thank you.
May I answer the question now, or should I wait?
Yes, you may answer the questions right away, please.
Oh, okay. Well, thank you very much for the question. I think the question is very important. But at this stage, we haven't really started the trial phase of 2D metaverse implementation. So I cannot really say exactly what are the responses to the student, but there are some trial basis, not really we as a university started, but some of our students actually on their own initiated that the implementation of 2D metaverse. And I think the biggest challenge I can foresee is that not really about the technology, but about how actually we can bring people to that metaverse space. And I know once students started to use the metaverse for interaction and social learning, they can really benefit. But if they haven't really experienced yet, they don't know what it's like, and they tend to think it's it's another gadget, it's another the game, like the thing we don't really need. And I think the biggest challenge is to actually create some kind of incentive for students to come, and then they actually have an experience in the real hand that the benefit of interacting with other peers in that virtual space. I think there are many platforms at this stage, but the thing is that we have only limited time, so we cannot really try out different things and compare and contrast, because doing that will require some funding and also the time as well. And so I think our approach is that we have to commit one or two and then see how it works. And then actually, if there are major disadvantages in the platform, move on to other platform and actually evaluate other platforms if they can actually fill the gap. And that, I think, the approach we are going to take. I hope I answered the question being posed.
Okay, thank you, Prof. Kumiko. It's actually the topic that you brought about the metaverse 2D is really interesting here, because as I said before, that in Indonesia we have digital divide that across the region. So with 2D metaverse, it will like diminish the drawbacks of metaverse 3D that requires high technology. Maybe we can discuss it later, and we'll move on to the next question. Thank you, Prof. Kumiko.
Thank you.
So we have the second question. Okay, this question is from Miss Eka Julianti from ICE Institute to Dr. Reinald. So the question is, I agree that we cannot go away or ban the growth of AI and its impact on the realm of education. But how can we as teachers manage that the students can use AI wisely and properly during learning or take-home exams, just as a tool or supplement for them, not 100% copy-paste from AI? Okay, please,
All right.
Dr. Reinald.
Sure. I'd like to answer this question with another question. Because this is an issue, a similar issue about honesty, right? We want to ensure that our students are honest in doing their requirements. And it's an issue since time immemorial. So I'm going to answer that with another question. So how do we ensure that our students just don't ask their parents, don't ask whoever, someone else, to ensure that they really learn, to ensure that the outputs of their assignments are really of their own and not of someone else, right? I mean, the approach will be similar to that. It just so happens that we are in this AI age where you're seeing this revolution, and this revolution has just magnified that old problem or that classical problem, if you will. So I'd say that the approach of that old problem and this AI induced problem are quite similar.
Okay, thank you, Dr. Reinald. So actually the problem is already there even before the AI is
Exactly.
here, right?
Got it.
So it's about the honesty and how we like optimize the ethical and honesty in the class.
Mhm.
Okay, thank you, Dr. Reinald. for the answer, and I hope that answers the questions for Miss Eka. We also have another question that will be screened on. Okay, the third question is from Fikri from Universitas Terbuka. The question is, what challenges did you and your students encounter during the transition from asynchronous and synchronous learning mode? How did you solve it? And did you still find such challenges recently? This question is for Professor Kumiko. Please.
Okay, the challenges we faced was to actually introduce synchronous online classes. That the first of all, the use of web conferencing tools. Of course, during the pandemic, the web conferencing tool became pretty popular. And even though those people who never really used web conferencing tools before started to use web conferencing tool, but still there is a large segment of our students who are kind of a mature age student who didn't really have any urge to actually use those tools. And I think the challenge for us at university, and we have to do something about it in the future, is to actually to fill that the digital divide. Those the students who are not really motivated to actually learn new technical tools, to convince them that it's beneficial for them to actually learn those tools, so that they can actually get the full benefit of distance education, and not just the passive mode of the learning in a synchronous mode. And that actually the change of mindset would be the most challenging, and that's not only for the student and the teachers as well. In my university, many teachers are accustomed to creating learning materials in an asynchronous mode, and offering synchronous classes at distance become a challenge, a big challenge for many of the faculty member, teaching staff as well, and also there is a limitation in terms of size of student number we can actually allow in one synchronous class. Unlike asynchronous classes, the number really doesn't matter as much because it's offered asynchronously, and the teacher are not really required to give feedback in real time. But if it's become synchronous, it will become burdensome for some teachers. So we have to create a system for like teaching assistant, employing teaching assistant in an effective way, which we don't really have at the university as a system. So we have to create that kind of system as well. So there are many organizational challenges as well as the personal challenges we have to overcome.
Okay. Thank you, Professor Kumiko, for sharing the challenges that you face during the transition. I think I would also like to ask about the one that you mentioned in your presentation, that based on the survey, most of the students are reluctant to turn on the camera, and it also applies in Indonesia. So how would you like minimize the percentage of those people who don't want to open the camera or chat even, so it will be more engaging in synchronous setting? Thank you.
I think we know that we cannot actually make it mandatory. We cannot actually force them to turn on camera. So usually in my class at the beginning, I will tell them, it's optional to use camera. But if you think of as a speaker, talking to the screen of just the names in the black screen and with white names, it will be very kind of discouraging for a speaker to speak, because communication is person to person. Even though it's one to many, still the teacher wants to actually see the student faces and the seeing the student nodding or looking somewhere else or doing something, we can actually get some feedback to how engaging our topic is or not. And that kind of feedback we appreciate. So if possible, please turn on camera, but I appreciate, respect your choice, and I don't really want to force you to turn on. And I will actually state that in the beginning of the class, and many actually students turn on their camera after I said that. And of course, there are a few number of students who don't want to turn on camera, probably with various reasons, but I actually respect that choice.
Okay, thank you so much, Professor Kumiko, for sharing. So, ladies and gentlemen, we will move on to the next question. Okay, this question is for Dr. Reinald from Chika, from the DSE of UT. So the question is, if we want to check for plagiarism, we can use, for example, Turnitin. And if we have to teach many students in the class and would like to check out whether or not students are using 100% using AI for their tasks, can you suggest what anti-AI apps that we can use? Thank
All
you.
right. So this is one of the questions that I often receive, anti-AI tools or AI detection tools. Personally, I don't like them. I mean, it's so easy to trick them because during my spare time, I try to play around with these AI detection tools, so-called, and they're so easy to fool. Yeah, that's one, easy to fool. And second one, it's very prone to type 1 and type 2 errors. Student works which will be marked AI, and AI works which will be mistakenly marked as student. And let's say that, okay, you use these AI detection tools, but the student is claiming, no, sir, I'm not using it. But the AI detection tool said that it's using AI. What are you going to do, right? Well, you will ask the student to explain himself. What if you don't believe the student? So in my approach, because I don't forbid my students, I actually don't care. It's more on the redesign of the classroom activities. What can be done, or how can you repurpose or reformulate the activities being done in the classroom? Because one possible approach, what I'm doing, okay, you can use anything, but when I ask you, for example, I ask them to record if it is asynchronous or synchronous recitation, at least the student can process in himself or herself that whatever the source, he or she really understands. Because at the end of the day, that is what is important. Whatever the source of the student, he or she really learns. So it's more on that regard. And then another effective way is by instituting AI classroom manifesto or honor code or honor policies. Yeah, because it has been proven, not only by me, but by several research papers, that encouraging or requiring our students to subscribe to the honor code at the beginning of the semester or the beginning of the class, it has been shown to be actually effective. I was surprised, but that is actually supported by empirical evidences. Yeah. So maybe if you still want to use the anti-AI tools only as a starting point, but you don't believe whatever it says, because again, very, very prone to type 1 and type 2 errors.
Okay. Thank you, Dr. Reinald, for insightful answer. So we actually often get like complaint from tutors that maybe some students answer like ChatGPT, or before the answer is relatively short, but now since there is ChatGPT, it's quite long. So the tutors like, yeah, maybe it's from ChatGPT. So as you say that the anti-AI can be manipulated and we cannot 100% trust the result. So it's better based on tutor judgment, actually better than the system, yeah, the anti-AI. Well, thank you, Dr. Reinald. And we'll move on to the next question. Okay, this question is for both speakers from Badri Bogor. So the question is, as experts, based on your reading and research, how should OFDL adapt to the future development of technology development, such as AI or AR, VR, and metaverse? Please, maybe we can start from Professor Kumiko and then to Dr. Reinald.
I think it's very important question. Well, as a OFDL practitioner, we always dealt with technologies because in order to deliver education at the remote location, the student in the remote location, we have to use some kind of technology to do that. So we dealt with technology, but at the same time, we are open institutions, meaning that we have to allow or reach to the student or learners who want to study regardless of their social background or financial background and so forth. So which means we have to actually allow diverse student, which is very different from traditional on-campus classes, because usually those on-campus classes at the higher educational level, there is a selection process, and usually the student cohort share kind of common characteristics in terms of social and academic and probably financial background. But in OFDL, we cannot assume that kind of commonality. So we have to provide opportunity to everyone who wants to study, which is a challenge. But I think the technology, which is not we shouldn't impose any particular technology, but we have to offer variety of options so the student can actually choose different technology at their own convenience, the one they actually feel more comfortable. It's a challenge, but I think our task is to try to offer as variety as the possible option, the technological option, so that student can actually adapt to the one they actually feel comfortable with. And your mic is off, muted.
Okay, thank you, Professor Kumiko. So thanks for sharing with us that we shouldn't impose one particular technology and should offer variety of technology to suit or to cater students' needs. Okay, and next, please, Dr. Reinald.
All right. So just like what I mentioned earlier in my PPT, let's all learn to adopt and adapt whatever technologies that are out there. Because at the end of the day, what is of paramount importance in our minds would be the best interests of our students. And actually, the answer is in the question already. So how? We have to remain open and flexible, right? Yeah, we gotta remain open and flexible, adopt and adapt, learn to embrace. That's it.
Okay, thank you, Dr. Reinald. So the key is to adopt and adapt, ladies and gentlemen, to face the future of technology. So that was the last question for Q&A. We actually still have several questions, but due to the limited time, we have to end the Q&A session. So as we come to the end of the webinar, I would like to extend a heartfelt thank you to Professor Kumiko Aoki and Dr. Reinald Adrian for their invaluable contribution. Thank you also to our audience for your engaging participation and to the AAOU team who ensure the event runs smoothly. We hope the insights and discussion today have sparked new ideas and perspective on leveraging technology in learning. I'd like to remind you that a certificate of participation will be issued to those who have completed the registration process, actively follow the entire session, and fill out the feedback form. So the feedback form will be given afterwards. So ladies and gentlemen, and to Professor Kumiko and to Professor Reinald, Have a wonderful day ahead, filled with inspiration and new learning. Thank you once again for your engagement. And now I pass the baton back to our host. Take care and have a good day, everyone.
So, thank you very much, Professor Aoki and Dr. Reinald and Adisthy. Thank you so much for sharing us an inspiring and interesting presentation as well as your sharing best practices. And to end the session, I would like to give each of our speakers our pattern of e-certificate. The first e-certificate will be given to Professor Aoki. So let's give applause to Prof. Aoki. Thank you very much, Prof. Aoki. And then the second e-certificate will be given to Dr. Reinald. Thank you very much, Dr. Reinald. Let's give applause to Dr. Reinald. And then the last certificate will be given to our moderator, Ms. Adisthy. Thank you very much for inviting me this presentation. Let's give applause to Ms. Adisthy. Wow, once again, thank you very much for sharing an inspiring and interesting presentation as well as expected. It was very fruitful for all of us as an audience. And I would like also to thank all our participants, AAOU members from Japan, from Pakistan, from Philippines, from Indonesia, from and from all over the world for joining the episode of AAOU Webinar. And then please stay with us and we will have a presentation. So please turn on your camera. Yeah. We are all audience here, all participants. Please turn on your camera because we will have a presentation. So, okay. All right. Ready? 3, 2, 1. The first slide. Please give your best smile. And then the second slide. 3, 2, 1. Another slide. 3. All right. 3. All right. 3, 2, 1. All right. Yeah. Thank you very much. And then I still have some information before we end the session. AAOU Secretariat, so we will invite everyone, every participant here to prepare the best paper to be submitted to the 37th AAOU Annual Conference in Pakistan in 2024. And then the second information that I would like to share is that we are also proud to announce that AAOU also has AAOU Journal, which now is ranked #1 in Scopus. So we are inviting you all to submit your best manuscript to AAOU Journal before submitting to the other journals. And those whose articles published in AAOU Journal will be given a free waiver to the 32nd AAOU Annual Conference next year. And last but not least, don't forget to fill out the feedback form to complete the conditions of getting the certificate of this webinar. Note down the link shown on the screen now. And that's all for today. Thank you very much and see you next year. Bye-bye. Thank you for Aoki, Dr. Reinald.
Thank you.
Thank you too. Terima kasih.
Thank you.
Terima kasih banyak-banyak. Bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye.